You're listening to the Peasinner Network. For more great podcasts, go to peasinner.com.au.
Spoiler alert. I mean, honestly, if you listen to this podcast, spoilers.
Spoilers.
Please attend carefully. In conversation. Where to start? Okay. Welcome home.
Thank you.
Welcome back to the studio. You were in the UK for what, 2 weeks? 3 weeks?
Nearly 3.
Nearly 3, yep. Yep. It must have been so interesting. You were messaging me the entire time.
There was a lot of travel because we didn't just go to one location. We went around to we were in London twice. So we went London, Fort William, the Isle of Skye, Edinburgh, York, back to London. So there were a lot of travel days between locations.
Well, that sounds fun. Okay, let's talk about the Doctor Who-centric parts of your trip.
Yes. It was day one.
Day one?
We were in London. We had to fight jet lag because the flight's about 24 hours from Adelaide to...
Well, you get a stop off in Kuala Lumpur,
Yes,
don't you?
4 hours we had in Kuala Lumpur.
Okay.
In the airport. So we arrived the same day we left because of time differences.
Yes.
Which is fantastic. So it was like we arrived at 6 a.m. So we're going to try and get, through to at least 6 p.m. if possible for sleeping. So we've got to just do stuff all day to stay awake. So we went into London and Forbidden Planet, one of the first places we stop in London because we decide, well, I'll have a look at what Doctor Who merch they have and then we'll swing back at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Collect it all so that we're not walking around with everything.
Yeah.
Forbidden Planet had been hyped up to me, and I'm sure a lot of people in the UK know what it is, but it's a pop culture store.
Yeah, well, it's kind of marketed, or at least it always has been as far as I'm concerned, as being like the best pop culture store in the world.
Yeah, well, I thought that's what it was going to be like too.
Yeah.
This is going to be an Australian reference that very few people, I assume, are going to get. It was smaller than Minotaur in Melbourne, if you've ever been to Minotaur. Minotaur is...
Old Minotaur or new Minotaur?
Both.
Okay.
Yeah, smaller than both of those.
I
would
hate
say.
new Minotaur. It's just so bland. It's
Yeah.
not interesting at all.
It's all anime stuff these days in there.
Yeah.
Which is fine if you like anime. I will give it to Forbidden Planet. The range and variety of products in a small place was immense.
Yeah.
So yes, they did have a very good variety of products despite the building being quite small.
Right.
I was really spoilt for choice for things here because straight away ticked off the list. For those who aren't aware, I've got the main goal of the holiday is 5.5 action figures.
You sure the main goal of the holiday wasn't your honeymoon, Amber?
No.
Okay, fine. Right, cool.
Doctor Who wise.
Doctor Who wise, okay.
In relevant to this podcast.
Okay, sure.
The mission was...
Sure. The 5.5-inch character options action figures.
Yes. So Clara and Missy, Forbidden Planet, have both of them. Fantastic.
Just in case you didn't know, Australia is a cultural wasteland, and trying to find Doctor Who stuff, even at like the big pop culture places that you can go to in Australia, like if you can order online, or if you're in Geelong and you go to Pop Culture, or from Zing or something like that, no Doctor Who stuff. No,
there's no Doctor Who stuff. Maybe
No.
the occasional TARDIS with like the
like a TARDIS pedal bin or some shit like that.
I was thinking of the Van Gogh painting version of the TARDIS.
Oh, the
Like,
exploding TARDIS
TARDIS,
print. Yeah.
That's probably like the only thing you'll find ever anywhere. Apart from secondhand collectible stores, which is where I normally hunt for stuff.
Yeah.
So Clara and Missy. So you know how here there's just like the weekly villains littered everywhere on shelves?
Oh yeah, like there's always Scarecrow, and there's the Pyrovile priestess.
Yep. There's the Smiler.
Yeah, there's the spinner Smiler things. Yeah. Yep.
Missy and Clara are their versions of that.
Really?
Yeah, so I found that any place I found Doctor Who toys, there was an abundance of Missy's and Clara's. And there was none of the weekly villains. I guess they've purged those from shelves long ago. But yeah, luckily I managed to get them. And also, I was very excited, a fugitive Doctor.
Yeah, well, you finally, because we've been talking about this for a while, haven't we? It's just like, oh, I want the fugitive doctor to complete the doctors, but the TARDIS, the TARDIS is big, it's quite expensive, and we only really want the figure. But you just bit the bullet and bought it. Didn't
Well,
you?
I think that the allure of not having to pay the shipping as well.
Well, yeah,
So,
because
okay,
it's meant to be a Character Options Online exclusive.
And it says it on the box too, online only. I'm guessing Forbidden Planet just bought some and put them on the shelves, for people.
Yeah.
So yes, it was 80 Australian, and I was like, but no shipping.
Yes, that's the main thing.
And I ended up redoing my shelf and getting rid of the TARDIS cookie jar that I had, and actually putting it in the kitchen as a cookie jar.
Oh wow.
And using this new proper TARDIS that's to scale with all of them.
Mm-hmm.
But there was a lot of great stuff there. A lot of badges.
Yeah, I saw you sent me a video and a picture while you were looking at it, and yeah, there was some really cool stuff.
Yeah, so I went away and enjoyed the rest of our day, safe in the knowledge that we would be returning for a bunch of that stuff.
Forbidden Planet, yep.
So yeah, I went off and had a lovely day around Central London? Well, it was Soho.
Lovely. We could just play some like Londonish music over the and yeah. And then you returned to Forbidden Planet.
Oh, sorry, they had also, I've shown you a picture of it, this Anthony Ainley print.
Yes.
That just says a new body at last.
At last.
And it's just got like gothic filigree
yeah.
around him.
Like black and red. I really like it.
It was nice. Never getting it home in my bag unscathed, so I couldn't get it. It was only £3, but still wasn't going to waste the money on that.
No.
So yeah, I got Fugitive Doctor, Clara, Missy. I got a bunch of badges. There was also a massive book section downstairs.
Yeah, I saw that, and I know, like, I also saw a bunch of them had like discount stickers on them. I'm just like, oh, you didn't tell me you looked at the books.
I still looked through I think because I had your list.
Yeah.
So I knew what I was looking for. So I
Yeah.
didn't need to ask you about those because I just knew.
Yeah.
But they also had a massive Big Finish section, and as tempting as it was to get Big Finish product, I just don't have room for
That's
it.
the thing, isn't it? Like, you want to, it's just like, I love this so much. I want to just clasp it, but it's a CD and I don't want a CD.
I did look for an Only the Good, because if they'd had that box set,
you would have bought
I probably would have bought that one for us because it's my favorite. So that might have been the exception, but they didn't have it.
The only thing I do is whenever I can, I look for Big Finish vinyl. Because, of course, I'm a big fan of vinyl. There's something about getting a vinyl disc and putting it on, especially if it is something that's spoken word like Doctor Who. Like, you put it on and you hear the theme coming through and the crackling, and you just sit back in a chair.
I got a copy of Doctor Who magazine while I was there.
Oh, yeah. The current special, yeah?
Yes, it's got basically it's an index of all of the novelizations.
Yep, Doctor Who Print the Legend. I saw that. It looks very good. I'll have to get myself a copy of that, actually.
Yeah, so I got it for us because obviously in the podcast it's good for us to...
It is very handy because I have quite a lot of Target books.
Yes.
I have quite a lot.
So you also got a random mystery audiobook CD with it.
What audiobook did you get?
Carnival of Monsters.
Who's it read by?
Katie Manning.
Oh, wonderful.
Yes. So
yeah.
I was
go with that.
I was okay with that that one. I don't know if I'll listen to it. I might put it on, but you
never know.
So yeah, I got a bunch of pins. I got some little gifts for you.
Wonderful. We will open my my sack shortly.
Yeah.
Sorry. What? We'll open my stocking shortly. We'll say that. Okay.
And I mean that's it for a long time, because after that I get on a sleeper train that goes straight up to Fort William in Scotland.
And do they not have Doctor Who in Scotland? That was the worst Scottish accent I've ever done. God.
Do you want to go again or no?
Do they not have Doctor Who in Scotland?
They don't. I was not in parts of Scotland for the first part of the trip that had much of anything, to be honest.
They should put that on the signs. Scotland, near much of anything.
Well, I think they want it that way. As I think I've mentioned to you, they actively don't want you to be a tourist around there. Like,
they've met too many Americans.
The highest point in the UK is in Fort William, Ben Nevis.
Yes.
There's no way to get to it. Like, you have to get a taxi out there or have a hire car.
Right.
There's like a bus that goes every 2 hours conveniently past it. they just don't want you going there,
Yeah.
basically. So yeah, we go to Fort William, and then we get a hire car and we drive to the Isle of Skye, which is basically the most beautiful scenery in the world, but fuck all else. There's like 3 pubs that will extort you because what else are you gonna do? Where else are you gonna eat?
Yeah.
But that was still beautiful and it was fine, but there was obviously no Doctor Who. I did watch.
I just like the idea of these pubs that don't need to try. You can have tatties or you can have tatties. There's no other option.
I did eat the worst burger of my life. It was a venison burger and it was disgusting.
A venison burger?
Yeah. So
I mean, I suppose, yeah, what, a deer scraped off the royal grill at Balmoral?
it was weird because I had the worst burger of my life. That veal burger. Not veal. Venison burger. And then when we were on the Isle of Skye, I had the most incredible veal casserole. So it swung in roundabouts.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Yeah, Portree, which is where we stayed on the Isle of Skye, just, once again, there's like 3 pubs. So they can do whatever the fuck they want because people are lining up out the door for a table.
Yeah.
I did watch the first part of the finale.
Yes, that's right. You were in UK to watch. You were in the UK and you watched Doctor Who
Yes,
while there. That's
like,
such a huge thing for someone like us.
12 hours after you'd already watched.
Yeah, okay.
Because I waited for it to be on BBC Scotland. So I was in Fort William and it was the tiniest TV you've ever seen mounted up on the wall. Had to like drag the one chair they give you close to the screen because it was so minute I could barely see it. And yeah, so I watched it there.
Something about sutures?
Well, I started off sitting on the bed and I got 5 minutes in and was like, I can't see anything. I have to get the chair.
Pair of opera glasses come out.
Kind of. That's what it was like. But it was so funny because at one point we were downstairs and the lovely man who was running the guest house was like, oh, much planned for tonight with your holiday? And I was like, oh, I'm going to go upstairs and we're going to watch Doctor Who. And he was like, oh, did you say the Euro? Because the Euro was on. And I was like, he's like, I'm going to watch that as well. And I was like, no, we're going to watch Doctor Who.
Doctor Who.
And he was like, oh, do you not want to go out and see some nightlife? And it's like,
Doctor Who. I said Doctor Who.
yeah. So he was very confused that we were going upstairs to watch that.
Did he think it was some insane Australian code or something?
Don't know. Yeah, so then we go to Edinburgh
Lovely.
after the Isle of Skye. Edinburgh was okay.
You know,
This is a really damning holiday
No,
review.
no.
I'm not a holiday review
the problem
person.
I think so. You asked me, it's just like, oh, we're doing this in Edinburgh, and I'm just like, oh, hey, you should do this and other weird things that I suggested, and you were like, maybe, and I'm just like, I'm sorry, you're asking the wrong person what they would do in Edinburgh, because I was just like, yeah, go see the body of was it Burke in the medical school, like go
That's
see his
right.
skeleton.
We nearly did go to that
Oh, really?
the medical museum in the end, I think.
Instead, you went and looked at the the street where they filmed Diagon Alley.
It's not where they filmed. So, listeners, one problem with my trip in the UK is that the death grip that Harry Potter has on that country. Like everywhere we went,
It's like Lord of the Rings in New Zealand. They're beholden to it.
It had some tangential relation to Harry Potter, therefore everything in it must be Harry Potter themed. So there's a street in Edinburgh which JK said she based Diagon Alley off of. Therefore, every tour group in existence and every tat store that could afford rent had moved on into that street.
Yeah.
And there was at one point we were like, oh, Callum was like, there's like the royal or the historic graveyard, Edinburgh graveyard.
Oh, where the wee doggy.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Grey Friars. There we
Yes.
go.
He wanted to go and see the little dog memorial
Yep.
that was there. We looked at Google Maps and it was like busier than normal. And we were like, why? What do you like, what do you mean?
Oh.
And we're like, why? And we looked at the reviews and it was like, oh, there's a grave inside the graveyard that says Tom Riddle. And she's taken the name from that grave, so everyone goes to that graveyard. So it was full of tourists, so we didn't go. Because,
I don't know. She's basing Tom Riddle on a headstone there, and according to her, she's basing Diagon Alley off this street, and also according to her, she's basing the Death Eaters on LGBT activists.
Yeah. So who knows what's going on? We did go looking in some bookstores,
Oh,
and I managed to find you Doctor Who and the Space Museum novelization in one of them.
which is really cool because it's very cool to read that novelization because I did that story with Earth Station Who
Yeah,
a
that's
couple of months
cool.
ago.
I did find an odd thing. Neither of us, you or me, were willing, because I think I was messaging you at the time.
Mm.
Neither of us were willing to pay the price of the hardback version of the Savages or the Giant Robot.
Yeah,
Like I've never seen hardback versions of the Target novelizations before.
I own 2.
Right.
They're very, very hard to come by because
Yeah.
they were published by, strictly speaking, they were published by a different company, especially here in Australia. They largely only went out to libraries and stuff like that here.
Mm-hmm.
So I see them very, very rarely, but the price tag that goes with them, because they are so much rarer, because I think they only had like 1 or 2 print runs, whereas the paperback targets were, because they're like what we in the book business call a mass market size.
Yeah, I think they were like 40 Australian each,
I'm
which
not
isn't
spending 40.
that's not bad price,
like,
but I'm not.
It's not. If I had it spare, sure. But
yeah,
like,
I think it
yeah.
depend on what story it was as well. Terror of the
Yeah.
Autons or something, maybe. I'm more willing to pay that price tag for a story
that you actually
that
care about.
I don't
think
need the Savages.
I think the ones I have, because I got one in because I bought a job lot of Target books, if you remember, a few
That's
months
right.
ago. It was something like 100 books or something. So I got one in that, but the other one I remember having is I have the Twin Dilemma, which is possibly one of the single worst Doctor Who stories ever made, and I have it in a hardcover.
When I was in the Edinburgh Portrait Gallery,
Oh yeah,
2 things that were amazing. One is I got to see a painting in person by George Seurat. I don't know if you know that artist.
no, and I studied fine arts.
He painted Sunday Afternoon in Le Grand Chateau.
Oh,
I
okay.
probably butchered that pronunciation of that name. The pointillism painting of all the people staring out at the lake.
Oh yes, I
Yes.
do like pointillism.
That's my favorite painting ever, and so I got to see. It wasn't that one.
See,
'cause that's
I'm
in-
an impressionist. My
'cause
favorite painting's the Magpie by
Mhm.
Monet. Anyway, carry on.
So that painting is in the Chicago Art Gallery. So it wasn't that one, but it was one of his earlier paintings when he was treading the line between being an impressionist and inventing pointillism. Like you can see that he's not quite there. Anyway, that's just me.
And of course, that painting appeared to great effect in the film Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
There's a picture of the painting. It's just a field of flowers.
It's lovely.
Yeah. Anyway, but also this was funny. There was a portrait of a little dog.
Oh, wee little doggy.
Yeah, a little terrier, and it's caught a rat, and the rat's dead in front of it. And it says underneath Callum.
Callum, of course, being your husband.
Yes. And this painting is of a little dog called Callum, and the story behind it is the man who painted it, when the Edinburgh Portrait Gallery was opening, he went, "Here's a donation." It was the equivalent of £2 million today.
Mm-hmm.
And he went, "Here's a donation of money for you to go buy paintings for your gallery. I want you to populate it with as much as you can, so here's some money to buy them. One condition.
Mm-hmm.
Callum must hang in the gallery in perpetuity."
Oh, to be rich. And
It's a decent painting.
oh, look, I'm sure it's a
And
lovely.
the
I'm
gift
sure-
store full of Callum merch. They got like a little cartoon version made of him
Oh,
that was
bless.
on mugs, coast. I bought a magnet, I bought a coaster, and I bought a badge. I would have got the mug if I'd thought it could get.
Get back.
home,
Yeah, no. Yeah, I've seen what people do to bags in airlines.
Yeah,
so, yeah.
and it was so funny because Callum, my husband, was just glaring at me the entire time that I was fussing over this section of cute little Callum dogs. Anyway, moving on to Doctor Who stuff.
Yes.
I found that there is a bookstore. It was called the Gently Mad Bookstore.
Oh, the Gently Mad.
And I found the Letters from Time Lords book.
Yeah,
I think it's called something like that.
The thing that got me about that, you sent me a photo of like Time Lord letters. You sent me that, and I saw it and I was just like, I've never seen this before.
Mm.
I'd never heard of it before, and it wasn't on my. And then I looked it up and saw that it's like it's in universe
Yes.
epistolary, and I'm just like, that is 100% my fucking jam. And it even has stuff from the Master in it, I think.
Yeah.
Which the reason I was so surprised is because does not appear in my list. I don't have it in my list, so this is new Master content.
Yeah. So I haven't looked through it yet. We'll
We'll have a look.
But yeah, so I was pretty excited. And again, like £8, so $16 for a hardcover
Yep.
big book. I was pretty happy with that, apart from then having to carry it around in the backpack and the suitcase for the rest of the holiday. But anyway.
At least you didn't leave it on the train.
So I found a collectible store in Edinburgh. Just Edinburgh collectibles, just all sorts of things. Massive Doctor Who section. Got more Missies and Claras just littering the shelves. They had some really cool stuff there. They had like baking sets with like cookie cutters of villains.
Yeah.
They had some really cool like teapots. They had these baking sets that had like aprons and stuff. Unfortunately, the packaging and all was just too big. It just never would have got it home. They had the Jadoon with hair.
Fucking Jadoon.
Lots of 13s in the thing. Now, the main thing I got from here was a Master pin. Like a little pin. I'm going to show you the picture, and it's just like, this is the Master, and my response is, I'll take your word for it.
Oh my god, Hero Collector. Before they went bust.
I don't know which Master it is. I mean, it might be Sim, but the hair's black. So
it could be anyone,
don't
really.
know which one of them it is.
Generic Master.
It says it's the Master, and I just go, okay, have my money, I guess. This isn't Doctor Who related, but it's really cute. We went to the York Ghost Merchants. We've moved on. We leave Edinburgh. We go to York. We went to the Shambles.
The Shambles
is in York, and it's basically, it's a cute little street. It's really old. All the buildings are essentially falling over, like just listing towards each other. Apparently, you can shake hands through the top windows of two of the buildings if you sort of lean out the window together. That's how close they sort of have just become. There's a little store. It's called the York Ghost Merchants. I lined up at 8 a.m. and waited until 10 a.m. I wasn't the first in line.
Jesus.
I was second in line. Because I figured I'll wait while everything else is closed rather than wait during the day when I'm missing other stuff.
Yeah.
And it's really cute. They have these little ghosts. You go in there. All of the staff are like dressed up as they've got like
ghosts. They just have sheets on their head.
They've got like little. They look like these little bowler hats. They're like, imagine steampunk but without any of the steam. Like, as in like it's
what you're talking about here is Victorian clothing.
Yeah, no, but it wasn't. It was a bit more. I guess maybe it felt a bit more industrial, I guess, than...
Can I just take this moment to say, steampunk people, just throwing some cogs at things, it's not... Just,
I mean...
Try harder. Try harder.
Maybe I don't know what...
Maybe I don't know what steampunk is.
No, maybe I'm misjudging what they would have worn, but they were wearing, like, aprons on their bottom half with like white shirts and vests and bowler hats. So it felt like, I'm like, I don't know if that's what you would strictly have worn. Maybe I'm wrong. But it felt like a bit more costumey.
You know who you could ask? Your anachronistic husband.
I don't know. I don't know if he's over that kind of clothing. Anyway, but they all looked awesome. And you go into this little store. They only let 6 of you in at a time. And there's just ghosts.
Just little ghosts.
Just ghosts lining the walls, and you pick out the loot. You're only allowed to be in there for like 10 minutes.
Oh, wow. So you got to be quick.
Well, I don't think you need that. Like, if you can't scrutinize all of them, because these little ghosts, they're all handmade and they're all hand painted or hand decorated. So they're all different, and you can't really look at all of them. There's hundreds of them. You can't sit there going like, oh, which one do I... You kind of just need to vibe. Just go, that one looks good, I'll get that one. That one looks good, I'll get that one. Because you would just... Yeah, you'd probably have a bad experience when they're like, okay, leave now. Your time's up kind of thing. Like, I don't know if they throw you out, but they encourage you to keep the line moving. Because by the time the store opened, the line was down the end of the street. Like,
yeah.
And they basically close the line at some point and say, well, no one else can get in for the rest of the day because we've reached our
Yeah.
Like, they have a second location they send you to if the line is too long. They're like, if you just want to buy ghosts and you don't care about going into the little store, here's a map to just another place.
Yeah.
That's just basically a little tiny room it's a bit more open and it just has more ghosts. And so there's not usually a line there because you're not getting the experience of going into the store.
Yeah.
So, that's how popular it gets. So, yeah, that was cute. I really liked doing that. I was glad that and you put your little ghost in a little diorama. You take a little photo of them. It's very, very cute. York was full of op shops. I found a lot of Target paperbacks.
Op shops, charity shops, secondhand shops. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. I met up with a friend in London and we're like, oh yeah, we've been looking at a lot of op shops, and they looked at me like, what are those?
Yeah.
And we had to have that conversation.
Yep. It was like, I was explaining, I was writing down the specs of my studio yesterday, and I was like, oh, I have heavy curtains backed with quilts. And then I was like, brackets, duvets.
I found a lot of Target paperbacks, but you have such an extensive collection already that didn't find any new ones.
I'm now starting to, ever since I bought that huge job lot, which was like amazing. It was like $1 a book in the end.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But looking at the list, it's like Pyramid of Mars, no chance. Like that's now.
Yeah, that's gone now, right?
Oh, where was I when I watched the second half? York. That was the first night, I think, of York. Sorry. So yeah, at this point, I had watched the second part in a much more comfortable, large screen TV. I enjoyed the finale.
I enjoyed the finale. I mean, we're not going to do a whole thing on it, but I really enjoyed it. I try to be very glass half full with it. Most of the people I've been talking to have been quite critical. But I think that's the thing. Like, that is literally them just not taking off their critic hat. Like, they're looking for all the faults. And someone was just like, well, this happened at the end. And I was just like, but have you gone back to watch the other episodes to see if that's contextualized? And they're like, no, why would I go back and watch the other episodes? I'm just like, I can't help you if you're not doing the work.
So we look around York. I don't find much at this point. I rang because we're going to leave. It gets to the end of our time in York, and we're going to be in London the next day. And it's probably the only chance that next day I have to go to the Doctor Who store, which is in Upton Park, which is about an hour on public transport to get to from the hotel we're staying in.
Yep.
So it's going to be a significant journey to that store. So I decide to ring them.
To ask if they have any Doctor Who stuff.
Yeah, because
obviously they do. They're the Who store, but
so I ring them and they're very helpful. And I ask like, "Hey, I'm a collector. I'm looking for certain things. First of all, do you have a Delgado Master?" Mm-hmm. And he was like, "No, sorry." And I was like, "That's okay." He's like, "I got him in Dapol. That's the best I can do for you. I've got all the Dapol figures, so I could get you those if you want those. Plenty of them." Because apparently that store, when Dapol had announced that they were closing, bought
all of it,
all of their stock, so that they then had it.
When I was a kid, and this is before Doctor Who came back, my dad has always been like a big model miniature painter and stuff like that, and there was this model shop in Rundle Mall that you had to go up a really narrow flight of stairs to get into, and he used to go there and get his like source books for his like Napoleonic uniforms and stuff. But they had Dapol stuff there. It was like a hobby store. So like it was all, kits and stuff like that. But it had the Dapol figures. And it was the only place in Adelaide that anyone knew that had these Dapol figures. And so basically for birthdays and Christmases for like 3 years, every single family member was sent there to go get it. And still no one bought me the TARDIS playset. Oh, well, carry on.
And he's like, we do have a bunch of other figures. He's like, I can't really, he's like, I'm the only one here, so I can't really get out and walk around the store and tell you everything we've got in stock.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, but we've got a good range. And I was like, okay, I guess I'll see you tomorrow then. Callum remembered that somewhere in York there was a bookstore that he wanted, because he was looking for books for Secondhand Haunting,
yes,
his podcast. which he
Bit
found
of a plug there.
which he found lots of. But anyway, so we look in there, didn't find anything. Next door, there's an antique store,
Ooh.
and we're like, oh, we'll look in here. Just because we've been looking in all of the antique stores that are around.
Mhm.
It's one of those places where it's just glass cabinets everywhere, and like every cabinet is a different person selling stuff.
Right, one
So
of those. Yeah,
one cabinet's got jewelry, one's got Roman artifacts, one's got uranium glass, whatever it's called.
Oh, uranium glass. Don't tell Claire. She'll want
So
some.
anyway, it's just like all that stuff.
Mhm.
We're walking around, and I go, it's huge, and I'm like, oh, I'm going to go down to the basement.
Oh yeah, let's just go down into the basement of the antique store.
Yeah, and I go in there. Now I'm quite short,
Mhm.
and I go and I see a cabinet. I'm like, and I look, full of Doctor Who stuff.
Yep.
And I'm like, Callum, look. And he comes in and he's like, Amber, have you looked up? And because I was like, so I have to actually physically look
Mhm.
up because it was so tall. There it is. Roger Delgado in his demon's costume in box.
Yep. What else does that set come with? Does it come with Bok?
Bok and the Brigadier.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah, and the Brigadier's tricked out in that he's got like his little baton or stick. I don't know exactly whatever it is that he like tucks under it, like.
Yeah, it's I mean, I don't know what you call it.
Stick?
Yeah, I think it's baton. Yeah, possibly baton.
Yeah.
Stick.
He's got that.
It is his commanding stick.
Yeah, he's got a pistol and he's got his binoculars. So quite a nice little set of accessories for the Brigadier.
Of course he'd have his stick because that's the demons is where the field gets put over the thing and he sticks his stick in it and it catches fire.
So yes, so that was there. A Drashig. The Drashig hand puppet was there.
I'm so jealous you managed to find a Drashig.
I was almost as excited for that as I was for finding Delgado.
So like the Drashig figure it literally looked like a hand puppet. And you know what it always reminded me of? It reminded me of the KFC hand puppets for Godzilla in the 90s.
So I took away from this particular place after because the attendant had to come down and help me, and they were like, I don't know anything about what any of this is.
Just point.
Yeah, and she was like, you're gonna have to really tell me what things are. So in the end, I got Benton, Yates, I got Perry. The Perry I got, for some reason, there's 5 different Perrys. I don't know why. Anyway, I got Perry. She's from the 2 Doctors. That's the variant that she is. I got an Ace.
Maybe skin color paint is the cheapest, and so they because she's always showing skin.
And I got the Richard Herndl as 1.
That just shows the type of collector that's out there because the ones who are just no, I'm doing this history of the Daleks. I only want the Daleks. Richard Herndl can get fucked.
Yeah, that's what it must have been because he was out of box.
Yeah.
It was, look, I already spent the amount of money I paid for the Delgado was significant.
Well, it's your white whale, right? Because
Yeah.
you missed out on getting a Delgado with the Auton
computer bank
computer
TARDIS.
bank, yeah.
Yeah, so I already was spending a lot on that one. Callum's face when I explained to him all the ones I wanted was already he was fine. He was like, yeah, if that's what you want,
Yep.
I'd rather we not pay for postage for them all later. So I got them. What I left behind that I'm sad I left behind, but I just couldn't have added to the total was there was a Leela.
Yep.
She was $90 Australian just for her. And that's and there was a Harry, no, not Harry, it was Ian Chesterton, but he was in the box still with a Dalek or 2. So again, he was £90, so 160 Australian dollar, 180 Australian. And you're just
nope,
I can't pay that for Ian.
No,
unfortunately. So, which is annoying because Ian remains the first Doctor is the only Doctor I don't have a companion for. I have 3 Doctors without companions. 1, 2, and 8. 8 doesn't have any companions printed, so made.
No,
I don't think that there's any.
No. So they so B&M exclusive sets. There was the 8th Doctor with some Daleks, but there was not they didn't make any companions.
Yes, there was him with the Daleks. That set was available. I could have bought that, but he didn't look the best. Because he just had like a big leather jacket costume.
Yeah, so it's
wasn't
his Big Finish Dark Eyes costume, which is his like white t-shirt, blue leather pea coat.
Yeah, so
and jeans.
Yeah, so it wasn't the most standout McGann figure, so I didn't get that one either. But again, he was in box with a Dalek, so the price was huge. Because all the figures I ended up getting apart from Delgado were not in box, so they were cheaper because they were individual. So yes, I don't have a companion for 1, I don't have a companion for 8, and I don't have a companion for 2. Again, I don't think that there is one.
There's surely a Jamie figure somewhere. Really?
I don't think there is a Jamie in 5.5.
Oh, okay. I mean, I follow a lot of figure modders on Instagram, so...
So it was a shame to leave Ian behind because it would have meant I had another companion, but I just couldn't justify him. But yeah, that was incredible because then basically I ticked off nearly everything.
You didn't need to go to the
I
Who
didn't
store.
end up going to the Who store. I saved my time. That was it for the like merchandise side of things. I found pretty much everything I wanted to. But then I met up with a wonderful online friend of mine.
Mm-hmm.
I'll call them by their online name. Taka.
Mm-hmm.
Taka's a fanfic writer.
Yep.
An artist, a wonderful artist.
Aren't we going to be reading some Taka fanfic or something?
Maybe I'll have to ask them. I'll see.
Okay.
I'm not sure how deep cut it is.
I don't know. I'm pretty sure I saw because I followed them on Tumblr too, and I'm pretty sure they said, oh, I should put out like a blanket thing saying it's fine that anyone wants to do anything with my fanfic.
So I met them in person, which was absolutely fantastic.
Lovely.
And they gave me a gift. Well, they let me get something delivered to them. Because
postage was insane.
Yes. So I'm sure a lot of people in the fandom are aware of this, but it's called The History Between Us.
Mm-hmm.
And it's quite a hefty zine, wouldn't you say?
That's not a zine, that is a book. That is not a zine, it is a book.
Yes. So it's full of stuff. I'm hoping.
See, as far as I'm concerned, again, I'm an old school person. Like a zine is like it's meant to be short, right? Like it's meant to be. You could make zines out of a single sheet of A4 paper if you printed it correctly and then folded it. It would be a tiny little zine, but that's a book.
This is like the most professional looking zine you've probably ever seen. So maybe at some point on the podcast we might get into some of the stories if I reach out and ask permission.
Yeah, sure. I'd love to do that.
So that was really cool. Then we went to Escape Hunt on Oxford Street and did the
Dalek Awakens.
Yes.
So a couple of years ago now, the idea was to do a podcast about it, and one of these days I may well get around to doing it again. The idea was for me to collect every single piece of Time Lord Victorious, which, spoiler alert, I did. I got all of it. There are only 2 things that I could not tick off my list. One was Time Crash, because of course it was London, and I couldn't go, but I did manage to get a whole bunch of stuff from there because they're still selling merch online, even though the thing's gone. And the other is the Dalek Awakens, the Escape Hunt game, because it's only available in like 3 locations in the UK. So I'm terribly excited that you got to do this.
So that's great. So me and my husband Callum and Taka, it's just the 3 of us, so we're going to do it together. And basically, I'm sure people know what escape rooms are. You've got 60 minutes to solve all the puzzles and get out of the room. So we are given roles with ID cards with symbols on them. I was the scientist.
Mm-hmm.
And we go into the room and we also get given a fez.
Of course you do.
And the host of the game basically says like, I don't know what this is, but I was told to give it to you by you'd arrive with a note that just said give it to these people.
Mm-hmm.
And so I guess out of in character, you know that the doctor is sent it on to you from the past. So anyway, we take the fez and we go inside, and it was a really cool room. It probably wasn't much bigger than this recording studio that we're in now.
Mm-hmm.
And in the corner, in a cage, is a Dalek,
Yeah.
a full-sized, functioning Dalek. And basically it's asleep, but then the game starts and Jodie Whittaker's voice comes on and she's like, hi gang, this is a colony ship. We've got to get it to the planet and land it so that it, it can start doing its thing and and introducing all of the specimens on board to the planet.
Yep.
I don't know why there's a Dalek on this colony ship. I can't quite remember why it was there.
I mean, I can tell you from context from Time Lord Victorious. The whole point of this Dalek is it's a single thread that follows the whole Time Lord Victorious story. This is a Dalek that has fallen backwards through time.
Right.
And is, kind of... So, like, the story starts with the Dalek. This is technically the first story in Time Lord Victorious.
Right.
But ends with, spoiler alert, right at the end of the story, the Daleks are destroyed and that Dalek goes back through time and ends up at the beginning. So, yeah, it's a whole timey-wimey thing.
Yep. Okay. So, yeah, it's there.
Mm-hmm.
And the ship power supply dies. So what's keeping the Dalek asleep turns off. So suddenly it wakes up. The room goes red. And the doctor's like, everyone freeze. It's scanning for life forms. And we'll have to freeze while it scans. I mean, I don't know what would happen.
What would happen if you actually moved? Yeah.
Anyway, it scans. I'm not sure if it then makes it just lasts longer and you're just wasting time.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, we all freeze and it finishes scanning and goes back to sleep for a little bit. And we keep doing our puzzles. And it was puzzles like, it's pretty standard stuff. Like there was some camera feeds into separate compartments and you had to put your hands into the gloves, like the radioactive protection gloves, and like write a bunch of like cylinders, kind of like what Jack Harkness is doing in Utopia.
Yeah.
You have to like get a bunch of cylinders and carefully put them into the bases that they all belong in, and you can only see on the camera, and the camera is reversed.
Yeah.
So it's...
God, I hate that.
So I ended up just closing my eyes and...
Just doing... Yeah, no, that would be the best way to do it.
Doing it by feel. And also had to climb into like a little cavity.
Mm-hmm.
And there was some pieces of puzzles inside this cavity I had to climb into and get. And the funniest thing was Callum somehow managed to break a puzzle. Because there was these specimen jars that we had to get. And all the jars had a different thing inside them.
Mm-hmm.
And you used like a little, kind of a crane game, but more of like a pushing things off of a spinning.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's like so the specimens are all spinning and revolving around, and you have to hit the button at the right time so that the little pointer thing knocks the correct one into the chute.
Yeah.
And you can get it and use it. Taka and Callum just ended up getting all of them rather than trying to go for the ones they needed. They were like, just get them all. Then we'll work out what we need. So we get them all, and they open up the drawer, because then you got to put them all in the drawer, and then you got to close it back into the wall, and it will activate the next puzzle. But somehow, before they'd finished doing that puzzle, I don't know how, Callum had put a specimen in sideways and was like, and then we had to get to something that was under the drawer. And he was like, oh, I'll just close this drawer in the meantime. And because the cylinder was sideways, it jammed the drawer. So we couldn't get the drawer open again to get the specimen. So
I bet the hosts loved you.
We had to sort of signal and like point to the drawer. And yes, a little thing came up on the screen that says, I can see the drawer is stuck. I'll just skip this puzzle for you. Which was funny. And then there was another point that was the Daleks, everything went red again, and the Daleks started scanning, and Taka just went, everyone freeze, it's scanning for life forms. So we all freeze, and I'm just watching the clock tick down, and we're all just standing there, and a minute goes by and nothing's happening. And a little note just comes up on the screen that says, you don't need to freeze. It was just that we had to hit a button to initiate the next puzzle to stop the Dalek.
Oh, okay.
But we all just assumed, especially Taka, that you had to do the thing that you had to... Just imagine the game master watching us, all of us stand motionless.
I mean, and let's face it, these game masters are underpaid, really bored people.
So another thing we had to do was, there was a puzzle about like, there are these shrimp, or like, I think they were shrimp. They were like tiny micro things that kept the water purified.
Okay.
While we were traveling, and like, oh no, their container is broken, or they're not going to be able to. They need to be given the correct chemicals to keep to stay alive. And I was like, oh, okay. And you get given a whole bunch of vials, and it's like you got to find the right two that go into the slot.
Yep.
And we're looking at all of them, and they're all labeled. And the clue is like, one is luminescent, and there was another clue, something I can't remember. But in hindsight, we think it might have been that it was meant to be magnetic. I'll point out that this escape room was not in the best repair. I'm guessing it gets
Especially not after you got there.
I'm guessing it gets done a lot.
Yeah.
And a lot of the not tablet, but a lot of the Perspex boards with writing on them that we got given with instructions were quite worn.
Yeah.
So words were missing and you're trying to like work out what it says. Anyway, we're looking at all the specimens and I'm like, well, it's meant to be illuminated somehow. We couldn't figure out how we determined. Like we tried putting it under where the security camera was to see if it had night vision that would make it.
Yeah,
But that didn't work. I ended up just looking at the vials and I was like, this ood ooze looks quite like it should glow based on what I could see inside. It looks like it's meant to glow in the dark, this prop.
Yeah.
And Taka was like, yeah, this Sontaran salt is magnetic for some reason. So we just took those two and put them in the thing and closed it and it worked. And it was we felt a bit like a fluke. Like we didn't feel like we'd really properly solved that one. But I don't know, I guess.
I mean, you solved it in your own way. Like if this is in Doctor Who, it's just like, quick, we have to try and work out what's going. This one looks kind of like it should. Like it's a very Doctor Who.
And this one's sticking to props for some reason.
Hey, look at my keys.
So that was great. So we do that, and then we get like this big map on one of the walls that's got like a big asteroid field, and you've got to like click the buttons in the correct travel order to make like patterns. Uninterrupted lines go through the maze, and that was good. And then came the hellish puzzle that took us longer than anything else. I was on one end of the room, and there's a screen on the other side. So Taka and Callum are at that screen, and I'm at this panel, and I've got a magnet. And what happens is it's got a grid on it with coordinates, and I put the magnet on it, and I'm also holding another button with my other hand, and that makes the button that I'm pushing with one of my hands makes the screen turn on the other side of the room, which shows you the picture of the grid, but with asteroids on it and with wormholes, so they can see the correct coordinates the ship should travel through to safely reach its destination. And I then have to do it blind on my end just based on the coordinates they give me.
Kind of feels like if you've got two people and one person, you should have the two people on the side where one person has to hold the button and the other person.
The button was right there.
Okay.
This puzzle took us forever because I don't know what I was doing wrong, but I guess I wasn't touching the magnet in a broad enough area of the coordinate, because we found out later, because we swapped and Taka did it, but Taka by this point, because we've been doing it for so long, had memorized the coordinates from the TV screen and just came over and was just like, okay, it goes there and it goes there, it goes there and it goes there, and every time they did it, it dinged like success. But when I'd been doing it, it hadn't been dinging, so I don't know what was going on with me. But anyway, Taka was just like, yep. And
Taka's magnetic personality.
And I got it all through and it all worked. And it was like, yay, we did that puzzle. And then the next puzzle was like, now you need to input the password. Find where you can, put the password in, like what the password is. And I went to Taka, I was like, what are the odds it's just Bad Wolf? And Taka just went, boop, 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 success.
Jesus Christ.
We found out later there was like a slot that you put your hand in and you can feel like kind of like braille or something, like letters in the thing that you need to feel blindly for what the letters are. We just guessed it was Bad Wolf.
Oh dear.
Then the best part, because Jodie Whittaker's been talking to us the whole time, so then the best part happens. Jodie Whittaker's like, okay, I really need to get you a piece of important equipment, but I need to have some kind of equal transference of, time energy with it. I need to balance out sending it to you.
So you need to send the Fez to get the sonic screwdriver,
Yeah,
right?
so what happens is you open a compartment in the wall, and it was really cool. You open a compartment in the wall, and you put the Fez in it, and you close the compartment, and you hear a bunch of noise, and then you open it again, and the Fez is gone, and the sonic screwdriver is in there.
Yeah.
And Taka is the biggest 13th Doctor fan, I think, in existence.
Right.
So the noise that Taka made when the 13th Doctor sonic screwdriver appeared was like of pure joy. Pure joy and wonder. No child on Christmas can match the energy of Taka being given Jodie's screwdriver while Jodie is talking to them.
Yeah.
It was incredible.
I would be a small child this whole time.
And then there's like a slot that you put it in, and and it activates everything, and the Dalek goes back to sleep. And throughout the entire thing, the Dalek is waking up and
Keeps waking up and does its Nicholas breath. It's like, you will be exterminated.
yes, and Jodie is also talking to you the whole time as well. Except one
Sounds like a difficult, like...
at one point there was a problem where like I had to put something into a slot, but like I fumbled it, so I was like, and I couldn't get, and it made the sound effect play like, on, like every single time it vaguely touched, the sound effect started, but I didn't realize, and I was trying to like,
Oh, no.
so it was just Jodie talking over herself on an endless loop,
Oh, no.
and we didn't even hear what she said because I just couldn't. That was really funny.
Amber, the DJ here, just like fam, 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 fam,
Yeah.
fam.
And that was it, and we got out.
Hooray, you got out, you only broke it slightly.
Yeah, and we had like 16 minutes or something. We beat it. The guy was impressed, but yeah. I thought it was a good escape room in that it didn't have just padlocks on everything, like most escape rooms do.
I've never actually done an escape room.
Oh, okay.
I need to.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to, but like, I've never had, like, friends.
We'll go do one. We can go do one. We'll do a double date or something. So yeah, normally the thing with escape rooms is it's like, oh, this writing desk over there has a padlock on it.
Mm-hmm.
So now I need to find the
Well done, just naming things in the room.
yeah. So now I need to find a clue somewhere in the room that gives me 3 numbers, and I put it into the padlock and I get into the desk, and then. But this one was a spaceship interior, and everything was gimmicky in that you turned pipes so they connected to one another and they created a flow of water. Not really, but it could.
It could possibly function that way.
Yeah, it was really good, I would say, especially actually having one of the doctors being in it with like voicing it.
Yeah.
That was really cool. And having the actual Dalek there and functioning, and Nicholas Briggs voicing it as well. Like that was all really good. It just needed more maintenance.
I mean, I hear that this is a problem for escape rooms all over.
Yeah. Like, when you've got the glove that you put on for the radiation tank to like put the cat, and it's just got a giant slit up the side, and I probably could have just taken my hand out and put it through the slit and not use the glove. It's just little things like that where you're like, just fix some of these things. Like
behind that slit is someone with really thick forearms.
You just went.
It's when in there, it's just like, I can't get it out. Someone had to come up. Oh, for fuck.
Yeah, but we had a really fantastic time, and it was worth it to see Tucker's reaction to getting given a sonic screwdriver by Jodie.
Amazing.
Yeah, well, that's it for all the stuff Doctor Who related I did. So now we can open your goodie bag.
Good D-bag. What do we have here? We have 2 Target books. We have Doctor Who and the Nightmare of Eden. Great story. And the Space Museum. What's interesting about the Space Museum cover is that there's 2 Daleks on it. There's only one Dalek in the Space Museum. And it's it's Honey, I'm here for fun. Is this a coaster?
Yes.
Amazing. I love it. Oh.
It's 15 saying, honey, I'm here for a good time.
Yeah. With like wonderful like rainbow. Oh, really cool. I love that. Okay. What else we got here? Oh yes, I asked you to get this for me. Because I don't trust Disney. I don't trust Disney to not get rid of Doctor Who at some point. So this is the Blu-ray of the 60th anniversary specials with bonus features, which will be amazing. Thank you. What else we got here? Oh, you're giving me the Carnival of Monsters. Oh, thank you.
Well, I thought at least I would initially give it to you because I don't know when I'll get to listening to it. But I thought you might be interested.
I probably
in listening.
will. Yeah, you know me. I enjoy listening to things. So I'll have to put it on. Find something to listen to. We got another one here. Terror of the Autons, which has got the most disgusting cover of any Doctor Who book.
Especially because that's not in the show.
No, it's not.
Novel only thing. It's also got the amazing illustration of Delgado looking in through the roof.
Yes. A pin of Unit. Amazing. Yeah, like the classic series unit pinned, which I saw that fantastic photo of you with your little hat with the pin on it. It looked perfect. What's this one? Oh, it's a Sontara. He looks so cute and angry. What's this? The Missy Chronicles. Wonderful. Yes. More content for the mill.
That was the thing. I had to be careful at what books I got because
Books
weigh a lot and take up a lot of room. I wanted to get Ruby Red, but I was like, I can't get,
I mean, we can get Ruby Red here.
Yeah, that's what I thought. But the Missy Chronicles, I was like, we need this for the podcast, therefore I need to get it.
And here's the Time Lord letters. Oh God, it's huge.
Yeah.
I've never heard of this. It's a brigadier. Oh, and you even got the gun.
Yes, so this is a brigadier because just before I left for the UK, I found the Axos playset with the brigadier, Joe, and an Axon.
Yeah.
And I obviously needed it because I didn't have a brigadier or a Joe.
But now
I got another brigadier, so
it's a really nice seal of Rassilon High Council pin. That's see, I like a pin with texture.
Mm.
And the last thing in the bag is my ghost from the York Ghost Merchants.
Yeah.
From the City of 1,000 Ghosts. Is that actually what York is called?
I believe they are. They do claim to be the most haunted city in the UK.
Did you see anything while you were there?
Cal and I had an argument about it. It's the stupidest thing.
Yeah.
We also went on a ghost tour, which I'll have to tell you about, but maybe off air.
Yeah, sure. Oof. What are these made out of?
I don't know.
Like ceramic, or are they made in molds?
I assume so because they're all the same.
Yeah.
I assume they might not be. I don't know. I believe they are like one of these heavily guarded sort of like you're a ghost maker or you're not kind of deal. Like you apprenticeship in them or you become initiated into making them.
It's sitting on my shelf next to my onyx carving of a raven.
Nice.
Thank you. He's beautiful.
Yes, I love them.
The feel of them is very...
It's very satisfying.
Yeah. Because you got a few for yourself, didn't you?
Yes, I got one for like my desk at work and then one for home. Maybe I got a couple for home because Callum when we got back was like, how many of these did you get? When did you get these when I wasn't looking? I think I just snuck a few extra into our basket.
So, but it's not like York's not trying to capture ghosts in these small idols and then send them around the world.
No. I guess we might wrap it up. So yeah, that was everything.
That was everything. That sounds like an amazing trip. You've brought me back some wonderful things. Yes, and it's good to be back, and hopefully we can get back into normal soon.
Yes, that would be nice as well. I'm craving some return to
normality.
Yeah, and structure.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much. If you want to hear more about this trip, just stick your head out a window and shout. I don't know. Bye.